Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:36. And if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the flag Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. First off, I would like to welcome Everett Clark, our new Alton School Board member. Welcome to the Prospect Mountain Board.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So what I'd like to do is do roll call, starting with you, Everett.
Everett Clark.
Kathy Dilla. Terry Noyes.
Jason Henry. Sorry. Wow, sorry.
Becomes vice chair. Jay Fitzpatrick.
Peter Levitt.
Diane Byer.
Bob Cullison.
Heidi Dufers. Eunice Landry.
Karen Hartono. Lila Adkins.
Michael Ball.
Caitlin Bean.
All right. Welcome, everybody. So we're going to open up public input. Don't everybody rush to speak at once. So we will close public input with no comments at this time. Agenda review. You need to add a non-public, right?
Yes. I need to add, there are two non-publics. Item E under 8, information action items, discussion on legal counsel, needs to be moved to non-public. And we need to add F, discussion of pending claims of litigation, which will also be moved to non-public.
What was the first thing you said? I'm sorry.
It's item E, discussion on legal counsel, moved to non-public.
Okay.
And the second item is F, which needs to be added, discussion of pending claims of litigation. Both in section 8.
Any further additions? Subtractions?
We're going to talk about the solar.
Oh, yes. Under information.
That would be building and grounds.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that, vision and building and grounds, okay. All right. Are we all set on the agenda? We'll take a motion.
Make a motion, accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Taking a motion on the approval of minutes for May 2nd.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of May 2nd as submitted.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Comments, changes? Seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous?
No.
One abstention? Two abstentions? Great.
Am I right? Yeah, okay.
Okay, board, superintendent, principal, and student rep, and I believe student rep, you are up.
All right, so we're winding down for the year, but that being said, May was a very busy month. All of the things that we've kind of been working on for both the past couple months and even for my class, past 4 years, finally kind of came to completion. We had our senior class trip, and it was an amazing time. Everybody was had so much fun. We did have a lot of rain. It rained even harder than it did today on Saturday while we were down there. But we found things to do, and everybody really got to become closer as a class. And the hotel actually said to our advisors that we were one of the best school groups that they'd ever had there. So I'm very proud of my fellow classmates for that. But over the course of the trip, we got to go to different shops. We got all along the boardwalk. We could hang out on the beach, although it was a little cold to go swimming. But there was go-karts and mini golf, and I know there were several very competitive groups that went through. Quite a few funny stories with that. But yeah, in general, we just had a great time. Another thing that's happened was prom. Everybody also, again, had a great time there. It was at the Oaks in Somersworth, and we had a photo booth. There was like finger food, and we all got to take home lanterns. And so that was cool. And then our prom queen was Dee Dee Everhart, and our prom king was Dan Drury. Both people are great members of our class and definitely were befitting of the titles. We also had the band and chorus trip to competition and Six Flags. The band actually received a gold medal and chorus received silver, and so the way this competition works is that you go in and play for judges and they give you some feedback, and you're not necessarily ranked against other people, but they kind of have different classes. The highest you can get is platinum, and it goes gold and silver then bronze. So both of our groups did an amazing job, had great performances, and then everybody had a lot of fun at the park. It was a little bit rainy, but that actually made it perfect because the lines weren't very long, and by the end you could almost just hop on rides. So that was really cool. We also, for band, we were supposed to march in both parades for Alton and Barnstead, but because of the weather, and this is the second year in a row that this has happened, we weren't able to march in them, which is a little bit sad. That was supposed to be our last big thing for the year, and it was also going to count as our final. But instead, we ended up playing for the 8th grade night, and we did a little marching show, and it was really quite amazing because we pulled that off in 2 days to put that all together. So it was quite hectic, but it all turned out really well, so that was really good. Over the past month, we also had the talent show. I wasn't able to attend, but there was over 20 performers, and everybody had a great time. I heard so many stories the next day, and it sounded like there was a lot of great performances. Also, we have 4 different students who received Scholastic Writing Awards. I know there was 1 junior and I believe 3 freshmen, and so they all had to submit work for that and earned awards for what they did. And there was also the sophomore semi-formal, and that was for the sophomores and the freshmen. So just seeing pictures, they did an amazing job decorating, and everybody had a great time. There was an art show May 25th. I heard that went really well. As you can see, there's some the art up right now. I know that there was a lot more of the AP students' work, and I am personally just constantly amazed of the beautiful things that they produce that are just like, how can you do that? But we really have a lot of talented kids in the school. We also, our sports seasons are pretty much coming to an end. I know that Brianna Burley over the past month pitched her 500th strikeout in softball. She's definitely a very core member to a lot of our girls' sports teams. Our softball girls were also commended from other schools about being a class act. So they contacted Mr. Fitzpatrick about how awesome our girls' teams were. And I'm sure you can share more on that later. There was also the Prospect United game, and the students...
Move on. Keep going.
Well, the students won.
Not important. It's not important.
And so, good for us. And then finally, then I also kind of touched on it before, but we had the 8th grade info night, and it seems like it's going to be a small but really good class coming up, so I won't ever see them around, but I'm sure they're going to have a great lasting impact on the school. And so that's all I have for stuff that happened, but in the coming weeks, obviously, graduation. We have the awards night for seniors on June 14th at 6 p.m. And then there's graduation rehearsal all week next week, or at least Tuesday through Thursday. And this week is senior finals. And so just lots of things wrapping up. And so as this is my last meeting, I also want to thank all of you for the opportunity this year. I've had a great time. It's been really cool to kind of mark my senior year through these different these nights where I get to kind of sum up everything that's happened to you guys. So thank you.
Well, we'd like to thank you for all of your hard work, great presentations. It's been a privilege, and I think I speak for the entire board when I tell you we wish you very much luck in your next step in your career and life, and we wish you well. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Superintendent?
He's the boss.
We usually go around the
I'm
table.
a lefty, so I'm going to go to the left first.
I'm going to give my final report on senior class data. I was talking to Mr. Carloni in the guidance office today, and the preliminary data is as such. Our seniors who have been accepted to four-year colleges, 43, which is about 34.5%. Two-year colleges, 32, which is almost 26%. 2 or 4-year colleges, 13, which is 10.5%. 7% have been accepted in the military, which is 9. 16 will be going directly to jobs, going out into the world of work, which is 12.8%. We have 2 exchange students in the senior class that will be returning to their home countries. We have 6 students who will be going into internships, which is 4.8%, and 1 student entering the Job Corps. And then we have 3 special education students that will be graduating and moving on. So that's 125 students. The data shows that 96% of this year's senior class will be entering college, the military, going directly to work, performing internships, or joining the Job Corps. So congratulations to this year's senior class. Great job.
Excellent.
Where are the other 4% going?
Well, that was the 2 going back to their home countries and the special education students moving on. So.
Excellent. Chad?
All right. Around you, you have the work of the art students this year. Last week, they did put on the annual art show at the Gilman Museum, where a lot of the best artwork was presented, especially those taking AP art. And so I encourage you, before you leave tonight, to make your way around. They obviously worked hard throughout the year preparing this stuff, but they also put effort into setting it up for you to be able to see. Some of them are identified more closely. They're out in the hall as well, those that received silver keys or gold keys at the national level, at the state level, so certainly check that out. Amazingly talented. In this section here behind you, art has evolved over the years and has gone from basic drawing with whatever medium you're going to use to a lot of stuff that's now done online with digital work. So some of what you see is a mix of things that they're now doing in Photoshop, of doctoring photos and melding photos together. As you get a little bit closer, you'll be able to see how it's modified. You can see the Ben & Jerry's one, for example. To the immediate left of that one is a piece that a student did. She's in that photo a dozen times, and that's all work that's done with Photoshop. So it's cool stuff, but you get to see the evolution of how art is changing and how the medium is changing as well. They also, I suggested in the future to have some of the video work that they do as well available for viewing. Obviously it's tough in the setting, but it's cool how it's evolving. So credit to those guys. Kate spoke about a lot of things that had happened recently. There were a lot of other things that went on, not to go into line item of what they all were, but I do want to let you know juniors took their science kneecap testing in May. All of our AP testing was concluded as well. We should hear back on how everyone did, usually about midsummer. The 8th grade information night it went well. It was well attended. We had a lot of people here actually. It was surprising. I was pleased to see, and surprising in the sense that there's a lot going on. There were rescheduled games due to rain delay, and I think there was something going on with a dance recital elsewhere. So very appreciative of those who did show up. Hopefully it was informative. Kids got to walk around the building, see their classroom, find their locker, meet their teachers, things of that sort. We are in the midst of class elections. Freshman class held elections yesterday for officers for next year. Sophomores did it today. Juniors will be doing it tomorrow, and of course seniors don't have to worry about it. But speaking of which, senior class president, Kate, don't forget you are speaking at graduation.
I was working on that earlier.
All right. We are in the midst of senior finals. They started today as well. We're also in the midst of interviewing for some of the positions that we have available. Graduation practice, as Kate mentioned, is next week, and the ceremony itself is on the 16th. It's a Friday night. I do need to know if you plan on being there because seating is tight, and I just want to make sure that I reserve enough space for you. So please let Sharon know if you intend on attending graduation. Diane, you're speaking, so there's no out for you, unless you pass the buck to someone else, which I guess you have the power to do.
He's not looking at me.
I'm working.
The middle school graduation ceremonies, this year they're on the same night. So the assistant principal and I will divide and conquer. We're not sure who's going where yet, but just so you know, if I'm not at your ceremonies, because I'm at the other one. So I apologize ahead of time. Freshman class trip, they take an annual trip. We bring the freshmen up, we hike Mount Major, and then we spend the afternoon with a cookout at Elacoya. It's a great class bonding experience. We get a lot from it, helps with our culture here. We're taking this trip this Thursday. The sophomore class, which they got gypped last year. We weren't able to take the trip because school got out so early that we ran out of time. So I had made the promise last year, hoping maybe they would forget about it, and of course they didn't. They called me out on it. So we're going to be taking the sophomores on that same trip next week. So if any of you are interested in going on a hike, we can always use more chaperones. Let me guess.
I might be able to do next week.
Awards night is the 14th. This is when we hand out academic and monetary awards to students, graduating seniors. If you can be in attendance, I'm sure the kids would appreciate it. There is a school board, the award that the school board is giving. I don't know who's presenting, but please, if you're presenting, let Linda know that you will be there. And going back to graduation, it's worth mentioning that the class selected Kathy Preston as this year's commencement speaker, which she's pretty excited about. And this will be the first time that we've ever had a non-prospect employee be our commencement speaker. So we're looking forward to it. The spring sports banquet is the 20th at 6 p.m. You're welcome to join us for that event as well. And unless anyone has any particular questions, that's it for me for now.
Any questions for Jay? For the superintendent? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Well,
All right, so we're going to move on to information action items. We have a personalization presentation.
That would be Mr. Fitzpatrick again.
I thought you were done.
I'm actually going to go up to the front here because I want to be able to see everybody, make eye contact with everybody, and I don't want to neglect any questions that you might have. So one of the things that I'm interested in doing now, because there's been so many of you who are new to the board, is to give you an overview of what's happening here in the school. As board members, I know sometimes you are asked by community members specific details about what's going on in the school, and sometimes it can be difficult to answer those questions if you haven't been exposed to any of that information. So I want to do a several-part series with you. Tonight I want to just briefly talk about personalization and what that is. And what prompted me to want to do this was, one, the changeover of board members over the past year or so. But two, those of you that were here a few months ago, I sent out a survey. I had Sharon send out a survey about personalization. And out of a 10-person board, 50% came back where you were kind of unclear as to what it was. And so it prompted me to think, you know what, it's my job to make sure they know what it is. So tonight's about personalization. Plans down the road, we'll talk about what curriculum looks like here. We'll talk about what assessment and what instruction looks like here as well. Okay? And if you have questions along the way, whether it's tonight or if you have questions at home, please feel free to ask. I want to make sure you have as much information as you possibly need to understand what goes on here. So personalization, back when the school opened, there was a lengthy discussion amongst the staff about what we wanted our mission statement to be. And we came up with the mission statement that we will personalize education in order to maximize individual success. And every couple of years, the staff and I have an open conversation about it. And everybody has a different interpretation of what personalization is. It's not a new word, it's not just an educational word. You can personalize anything from your iPod to your computer to your car, whatever it might be. Personalization in the education realm has a pretty wide interpretation. And the way that we interpret it here is that we're going to do the best we can to get the best out of each individual kid. And that does not necessarily mean that every kid is going to go off to college. It's our job as the adults to figure out where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. And it's our job to help you realize that and help you become something better because of that. And so from the school's standpoint, we all personalize in different ways. As a collective unit, we offer a wide range of classes that kids can take with their personal interest. On the more localized level, teachers teach in different ways. Some teachers perform what's called differentiated instruction, where they may have 10 kids in the class and they have 5 or 6 different methods of conveying the information. And that's another way that people personalize. Some people personalize by getting to know kids really well and build relationships with kids, and that's the foundation of how they personalize the experience for the kid. At the end of the day, the goal remains the same, and that is to meet the mission. How do we get the maximum out of each kid? And I'm proud to say that I think we do a very good job with that. It's not 100%. We don't connect with every kid, but we put a lot of efforts to connect with every kid. We have a lot of safety nets here. We have various intervention teams here that provide oversight. If Jason is slipping through the cracks, we're going to have eyes on him. We're going to have ears on him. We're going to meet with him. We're going to have contact with his parents. We're going to have contact with his case managers if need be. The teacher is going to come together on a regular basis to make sure that we've done everything possible to prevent Jason from slipping through the cracks. Sometimes he does, and we all feel okay with it, knowing that we did the best that we could to prevent it from happening. But we also realize that sometimes there are circumstances that are beyond our control. Okay? So personalization, as far as Prospect is concerned, is we are doing the best that we can to maximize success for each kid. So even though there's a common curriculum, even though there's common methods of instruction, and there's common assessments, and there are a lot of commonality, and there's a lot of rules, everything we do, from budgeting, which you all play a role in, to discipline, it is all treated with a personalization aspect attached to it. So when the assistant principal meets with a kid, it's not a, you have a detention because you did X and X equals Y. It is a conversation of what happened, how do we improve it, how do we prevent it from happening again. We're relationship building. So, Kate, you're a student. Is there anything you'd like to add about personalization?
I know that over the course of my time here, I've really been able to take hold of the different opportunities that have been presented to me. And I think through that, my education really has been personalized because there's been so many things open to me. But I know a lot of my peers don't like to step up and out of their comfort zones to necessarily grab hold of the things that they'd be good at or that would really help them succeed. And I know that one thing that's helped me through that is just being able to engage with my teachers and just seeing it in other people too, when people can call out other people's strengths and push them, not necessarily push them, but encourage them to pursue those things that will bring them to their fullest potential. And as Mr. Fitzpatrick said, not for everybody that's not necessarily going to college or doing this and doing that, but every kid has their own special thing that they can be good at. And I think Prospect does a pretty good job with trying to pay attention to that and bring that out further. So,
And if you're willing, I'd like to have Mrs. Sweezy, who's had 2 children come through the system and who obviously teaches here, also give her perspective on personalization.
Hi. So personalization, I guess, in my classroom is kind of getting to know the kids and projects that are pretty open-ended, that they can pick what they like, to help steer them in ways that I see that their passions or their strengths are. And personalization has really played a huge role for my kids. I've had 2 kids through the school, one who's graduated college and one who's graduated this year. And my child is dyslexic, and he has been working with one-on-one with his case manager, Kathy Frazier, and totally turned his life around. And so it was the personal approach. It was, we worked with Jay, I worked with Ryan Kilpatrick to really get a personal approach to help him with his learning disability. And so it's pretty impressive. And again, it doesn't work for every kid, and it doesn't reach every kid, but I think it hits most kids at some point.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions that you'd like to ask or anything else you'd like to know about? Cool. If at any point in time you do, I encourage you to reach out. Because again, the point here is to make sure that you're informed with accurate information. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Now we're moving on to committee reports, negotiation committee, Eunice?
We've actually had 2 work sessions with just this committee, and we are meeting with the teachers tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
Great. Any questions for Eunice? Okay, seeing none. Policy committee.
So the policy committee, we reviewed the wellness policy today. And that was stemming from changes that were required by the food services audit. So that was kind of the impetus to make some revisions. So that would be revised and presented to the board in August for your approval. We also talked about going back to the wellness committee and maybe finding some ways to broaden the scope of the wellness policy, just from the aspect of not only including physical activity and nutrition, but also areas of environmental, social, emotional wellness, and looking at some resources for that. We also started to review a combined version of the faculty and support staff handbook, so that it's all in one book and not redundant. So we're partway through that, and we expect also to be able to present some changes in August.
Great. Any questions for policy? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to building and grounds. Terry?
Okay, we had a very active meeting for the hour that we were there.
And some.
The roof is finally finished, it's completed. They've even done the punch list. And we are going to be waiting for the warranty, which is a 30-year warranty. We had gentlemen come in and talk to us about doing solar. We have a neighbor that is proposing to do a solar, and I'm gonna let Bob explain that. Because that's way out of my comfort zone.
One of the nearby properties has agreed to lease to a solar developer property so that they can put a solar array that could provide us with 90% of our electricity. Basically, it would be cabled in from that property. As a school, we're not eligible for a lot of the rebates and programs that exist, but they have a PPA process where investors take ownership of the solar array, and they take the credits and the rebates that are available, and the accelerated tax deductions and property value deductions and things such as that. It's all pretty new to all of us. And basically, we would sign up for a period of time, typically 25 years, renewable 5 years increments beyond that, where we would get the electricity at a rate 15% less than our current rate. Now, they could only provide us with up to 90% of our electricity. We would still have to be connected to our current service provider, which is an advantage in case something, there were all kinds of bizarre scenarios, including meteor showers destroying the solar field. But if something like that were to occur, we would still be tethered to an electric company so that we would be able to continue to receive electric service. So the presentation and some figures were presented to the Building and Grounds Committee, but I think that we still are pretty new in understanding this. And I think that we have some plans to maybe go and view some of the solar facilities. Interlakes is one of the schools that comes quickly to mind that has a solar field behind their building. Now again, this would be a solar field that would be off our property. Other possibilities exist where the solar field could be placed on our property, on our roof, etc. But it's still the same deal. We would not own it because there are no tax benefits or rebate benefits for us to own it. The system would cost approximately $2.5 million to install, and that would be what the investors would take care of. There would be no upfront money required from the school district. So we would have to look at this and talk about what would our actual savings be over time. And I think we've opened a pretty lively discussion tonight. We've got a lot of things to talk about.
we're very cautious.
Yes,
Would it be possible to get a copy of that?
absolutely.
can give you a small copy of it.
Okay, the other thing, we have gotten 2 bids for the, no, I guess 1 bid. Well, there were 2 bids on the track. And the committee is recommending that we go with the $72,215 bid with Maine Tennis and Track. We will need a vote for that tonight because we won't be meeting again until August, and they can do it in July.
But the second company has not actually given a bid yet.
They have until
Tomorrow, right?
tomorrow, right?
They have until tomorrow.
So if that bid comes in lower, we would accept that bid.
Right.
So we could do
Yeah, I'd
a
like to,
motion that not to exceed the 72, and then at the discretion of the director of maintenance.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Andy feels that either company he could work with, so.
Yeah.
So what's the 72 plus 4?
What's the what?
The money for?
To resurface the track.
Did you mention tennis courts?
no, that's
This
just the
does
name of
not
the company.
Oh, tennis courts?
Main Track and
Maine
Tennis.
Tennis and Track, yeah. That's the name of the company.
Yes, I'm not really sure where we are with the tennis courts. I know this didn't include the tennis
This
courts.
does not include the tennis courts, and the fund originally, as it was set up, was not to include the tennis courts, but to include the track. But we realize that further out, we'll probably have to do some repairs to the tennis courts, not as extensive as what the track needs.
Okay. All right, the other thing
So
is
did you
the
wanna-
arsenic bedding.
Do you want to do the
You need to do a
motion?
motion.
Oh, yes, a motion on the track.
So I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Maine Tennis and Track for $72,215, pending the second bid not being lower, and going with the lower bid if that is the case.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the arsenic bedding bid, he's gotten 2 bids on that. One was for $13,800 and one was $14,320. And the committee is recommending that we go with the Guilford Well, which is $14,320.
Do you want to make a motion?
Motion, please.
So I'll make a motion that we go with Guilford Well in the amount of $14,320 for the media replacement.
I'll second.
Second?
Are you recommending them because we've used them in the past?
Yes.
Say it again.
She asked if you recommend it because you used them in the past.
Yeah, yes, and the other one,
We've also used the pads.
yeah.
So I guess the question is, why are you recommending one over the other?
We've been
Prior history with the previous
prior history.
was not necessarily satisfactory. So any further discussion?
Yeah, we'll need a motion on that. Did you make a motion on that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
All those in
Motion
favor?
seconded.
I told you.
Is that unanimously approved?
Okay, the other thing was a team leader differential we talked about, and Andy's going to be coming back to discuss that again, having somebody in charge at night with the custodians.
We're revisiting, this board back a few years ago approved having the differential cost item and stipend and whatnot. Somewhere along the line, it was removed. I am not sure if it was an official board motion or not, so I've asked administration to research that, and then bring it back to the board for the August meeting.
All right,
Any
the
other
other thing was the gym, there was some damage in the gym this spring when the baseball and softball team couldn't get out on the fields. There were a couple windows that were broken and something to the bleachers. So the committee has asked Andy to look into making the gym safer for that, for the baseballs and softballs. So he's going to come back in August with that. And that's about it.
Any questions for Terry for buildings and grounds? Okay, seeing none. We'll go back to Karen for our Finance Committee.
Yes. So, the Finance Committee reviewed revenue and expenses. The general end result, there'll be a surplus coming back to the town. Also, we reviewed the food service audit, and the general result of that was anything that the audit found were basically technicalities. They didn't have to do with any significant monetary value or any health or nutrition issues, and they were all very correctable actions. And essentially, the correct actions were presented, and the audit is closed. For action items, we approved the funds coming back from First Robotics in the amount of $2,500 to go back to the robotics program to be spent on supplies.
It's a grant that needs to be accepted.
Yeah.
We do need to accept that here? Okay.
Yeah, so we'll need a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the grant from First in the amount of $2,500 and that go to the robotics group.
I'll second.
Any discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
And then actually, I'm going to ask Heidi to review the oil bid so that we can ratify the email.
Because we were late, I forgot to grab my folder, so I'm going to do this. I believe it was Diane, Jason, Michael Ball, Kathy Grillo, Terry, and Lila that I got authorization from, and you, and I wasn't sure.
So basically, what it was is, we're part of the consortium for purchasing oil for the school, and they don't necessarily tell us what the exact date is going to be. It usually falls between a meeting, so we had to sit there and do a phone poll to give Heidi authorization to accept the bid, which ended up being May 24th, I believe.
Yes.
To get the best prices possible for oil. So the names that Heidi mentioned are the board members that did contact her to give their authorization for that, and then I will turn it over to you for what the price was.
$1.89 with Irving Oil.
And how much less was that than what we budgeted for?
We budgeted $2.20.
So I'll make a motion that the board confirm the acceptance of the 2017-2018 oil bid at the rate of $1.89.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous?
And then Principal Fitzpatrick made an end-of-year funds request. I'm going to ask him to give a brief synopsis of the three components of that.
I've requested funds for three different aspects. One of them is for the restructuring of our department heads and CIA leaders. CIA is Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment. These are the people who have, for the past so many years, been in charge of leading their departments in the creation of new curriculum, as well as facilitating dialogue about instruction and improvement of instruction, as well as overseeing the process of commonizing assessments for common courses. For example, both Algebra 1 teachers giving the same assessment, so that there's equity between Teacher A and Teacher B. I would like to create a position next year that requires funding for one of the CIA leader positions. The second thing that I'm requesting is end-of-the-year funds because we are up for reaccreditation through NEASC in the year 2020. I went through a seminar recently. They've changed the process. Which used to be a 2-year process is now a 3-year process, which means I didn't budget for it in the fall, not knowing that they were going to change. But I've learned recently they have. Long story shorter, we have to have a steering committee in place this fall. And since that would be a board-approved committee, there's contractual obligations that the board needs to meet. So I would be looking for additional funding. And the third is a request for additional funding to, in the process of changing a job description as well as duties to one of the employees in the main office, looking to get additional funds to compensate her for that work. And I'm not giving the numbers because,
I have a
Yeah, I
phone
feel
number
like-
for all of that. You want me to just give that for year-end funds?
20,000, isn't it?
$22,653.
How much was it?
Oh, okay.
22,000 what?
$653.
Can we
Okay.
make it 25?
That's what you would like to do.
That's the total. Make it 25?
25,000.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve use of end-of-year funds in the amount of $25,000 for the 3 areas that the principal wants funded.
Which would be CIA curriculum leader, the NEASC steering committee, and the change in the job description of increased responsibilities.
I'll second.
So basically, that's 3,000 for the first one, roughly. I mean, we've got other benefits, taxes. So 3,000 for the first one, about 7,000 for the second one, 5,000 for this year for stipends, and 5,000 for next year.
So any questions?
Sure. So that's going to be, that'll be on a continuous basis moving forward then with the budget if we change those things, correct?
Right, what's going to happen with the third job description is that's going to give the budget committee the time to sit there and rewrite what this person's job description is. What the 5,000 covers as far as that change in the job description is the graduation, all the coordination of the graduation, as well as all of the standard testing that this person's responsible for, that when they were hired for the job, those responsibilities were not included, but it has evolved into that, so.
Follow on that then. Just make sure that then this is for one time and then we'll be looking at the CPS.
Yeah, 5,000 is going to be for this year. We'll do a stipend of 5,000 for next year. And then when we come back with the budget, we'll have it what it's budgeted for the new position.
Right, and the accreditation would be for 3 years, correct?
Correct, yeah.
But we budget it.
And that's across,
Standardized.
and that's across
All the
14
testing.
members.
Standardized
The accreditation
testing is done,
stipend is across
handled through the
14 members.
guidance.
The AP testing is SATs, PSATs, it's collaborative, but my office does all of the logistics for it.
Okay, do you say so?
And the accreditation steering committee is across 14 members, so that $7,000 includes stipends for 14 members of approximately $1,400 plus the additional benefits included.
Is there any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, where am I?
And then that wraps up the finance committee.
Excellent job. Okay, graduation.
I think you already mentioned everything, didn't you?
Jay?
Graduation is on June 16th.
All right, you just jumped out of.
Please be here by 5:15. We'll meet inside the gymnasium.
I take it it's inside.
I'm sorry?
It's inside?
Yes.
You know it's gonna thunder and lightning, 'cause it always does every year.
Yeah, so if you're here at 5:15 in the gymnasium, and again, it'd be great to have you. I know the kids in the community appreciate seeing you, but if you can't, it's understandable as well. Just let Sharon know if you can.
And you're back up with calendar change.
All right, calendar change. A little while ago, I approached Bob with an idea. He sent me on my way to do my networking and research. I corresponded with Vicki Sweezy, president of the Teachers Association, and my recommendation was to take the workshop day that is the Friday before Columbus Day weekend. And that's typically a teacher workshop day where kids are not here, but it's a workshop day that we use in-house for various trainings and curriculum work. We have more on our plate now, moving into next year. We have Infinite Campus, which is going to be our new student information system that we need to train teachers how to use. This is grading and attendance and things of that sort. We have some student presentations regarding suicide awareness and prevention, in addition to any of the normal trainings that we go through, in addition to any other school-wide initiatives that we're going through. I can't get through it in one day, and I try to give teachers some independent time on that first day of school as well, so they can set up classrooms, have department meetings and things of that sort. So when all is said and done, I have about 4 hours of FaceTime with teachers on one day at the beginning of school, and I can't accomplish everything that needs to be accomplished. And next year, I'm packing on an additional several hours. So what I asked Vicki for was, could we take that teacher workshop day from October, put it at the beginning of school, have teachers come back on that Monday. We'll have 2 teacher workshop days before the kids come back. And on that Friday before Columbus Day weekend, it's just a non-school day. The kids don't lose out on any time. It's just the placement of a workshop day at a different time of the year for the adults. She was supportive, got her approval. I brought it back to Bob, who's brought it to you.
Do we need a motion for this?
Yes.
So someone like to make a motion?
I can't.
Someone?
I will make a motion to accept the change in the calendar.
Second.
Any discussion, comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, we've moved the discussion on legal counsel, so we are on action items. So you have before you the school board scholarship recipients. I hope you've had a chance to review it. Normally what we do is you put your first choice, and we try to come up with a consensus on who's going to get it. So your choices you have before you are candidate number 2, 3. 2, 3, and 9. Yes. Thank you. So, did you review it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
How many were there in all?
There was, 10?
11.
11.
Oh, no, it was more than that, wasn't it 14?
No, that was 10.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I think it was about 10,
It
and,
was more than 10.
well, we came up with the same 3. So we gave our choices, and the 2 of us came up with 3 that were the same. Pretty much in the same order, I think, wasn't it?
No.
1 was out of order.
There was a few differences.
So these are the 3 that we sat there and agreed, separately but agreed. So what I'm hoping is, did you have a chance to sit there and review them?
I did.
And you feel comfortable making a recommendation?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna write down. You gonna write it down?
I'll do it.
All right, Bob will write it down. Okay, so if you could just let us know the number, 2, 9, or 3.
You took them out of order. It's 2, 3, or 9. 3 would be mine.
Okay. Kathy?
2.
Terry?
2.
Peter?
3.
I was 3.
9, sorry.
3.
3.
I just lost it. Are you kidding me? Good Lord. I think it was 2.
Is that your final answer?
No, it's
I feel like a game show host.
9. Final answer.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll get you a tally here. Okay, we had 5 for 3, 3 for 2, 2 for 9. So number 3 would be the one who collected the most.
Yes, and none of us know who that is. I will obviously find out the night of awarding the scholarship.
For the record, number 3 will be the scholarship recipient.
Okay, excellent. All right, foreign exchange student request.
We received a request for Jimena Perez, 15-year-old student from Madrid, Spain, to attend Prospect Mountain High School next year. She's in the 10th grade, and her student letter to the host family is included. Let's see if they've got that host family list.
Is this organization, didn't we have to approve the organization that they come from? Wasn't there a certain one that we were going to do, and
It's always kind of been, we take so many, and there's a limited number that we'll accept. And so what happens, it's been first come, first served.
Yeah, but there's only certain organizations that we
right, we had issues, we've had issues in the past. Maybe you weren't here then. Was it that long ago?
This part,
Do you know what I'm
yes,
talking
to
about?
what you're referring to, a few years ago, we had someone, a representative from one organization that was very thorough, came in, met with you guys all the time. She has since moved on. She's not doing that position anymore, and the person that has taken over has not to date presented us with anything. So I actually held off on this one because a counselor came to me a while ago and said, this person is interested, and I said, we gotta wait, we have to wait. I want to know if this other organization is going to provide us anything, and that other organization hasn't to date. So I said to her, let's get the information in Sharon's hands. Sharon's will check to see if this is an accredited program, which it is. So here we are.
What is the limit on the number of spaces?
It's always been,
5?
yeah, I think the
Say
maximum
5.
is 5. The problem is I think, I'm sorry, the policy I think says they have to be approved by a certain date. And since the next time we meet is after August 1st, we're technically, according to policy, not supposed to accept anyone after that date. So this was it.
And I recall, Terry, that there was a problem with one of the agencies who kept trying to get the students in after that date because they had to be approved by a certain date. They wanted to start them like at the beginning of the school year.
This just, I mean, this kind of jumped out at me as being a different organization.
Yeah, it is a different organization.
We've been using PACS for about 2 years.
So this organization did all the legwork on the host family and matched them up and all that?
They did.
So, okay. Because it seems like a good match.
What is the deadline? Or
Off the top of my head, I don't recall.
so she's potentially our only one?
Yes.
Yeah.
For some reason, the July 1 date sticks in my head as the deadline, but don't quote me.
I'm talking to the PACS coordinator, that's why I'm asking about a potential, so.
So right now, at this point, we don't have any potential students from PACS that we're aware of, unless they come forth within the next
PACS, that's.
PACS, yeah, 3 weeks.
Think of it.
Yes.
They have, you have.
Yeah, they've reached out to me and I've had contact with them, but I'm at a 50-50 whether we're doing it or not.
They came to the school, they met with our world language classes and gave a presentation to our world language classes. They did that maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago. So.
It was the World Cultures Club that
Yeah, they had that
caught
as
me
well.
at orientation.
And so this Cultural Homestay International is accredited, approved, et cetera, et cetera?
I believe so.
Well, believe so and and so are two different things. So, I mean, I don't want to sit here and say that we're going to accept this student and then find out that this company's not accredited. So, I mean, I suppose we could sit there and do a motion based on the fact that they're accredited and further research indicates that they're legitimate, or, I mean, this is a company we've never done anything with. Okay, so there, he just,
Well,
I have
could
a
there be like a
question.
Better Business Bureau rating or something? Sharon could maybe find a Better Business Bureau rating or something.
Well, or there has to be references. I mean,
Right.
do they provide references? Are there other schools in New Hampshire that they've sent students to that we can find out about? And just to see how, you know, they are and how, you know, for the students as well.
So did this agency find the host?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the horse farm that's around here? Riding on our roads?
They're new to Alton.
So on the Better Business Bureau website, they're listed as not BBB accredited, but
That could mean, you know, a
right,
lot of
I don't
companies
know
don't bother.
if there's another organization that is specific to exchange programs.
Well, what I mean is, we should look to see if they have done, you know, placed other students at other schools in New Hampshire, that we can sit there and get some sort of feedback from them as to the, you know, the support for the student, for the host family, et cetera.
Where was PAX out of?
That I'm not sure.
Excuse me?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, this one's from California, so.
Do you want to make a motion to approve now based upon them doing research, giving them the opportunity to do it since we're not going to meet again before the deadline?
I think, you know, that would be the best, and it would also allow us, the school, to give an answer as far as her placement in a reasonable amount of time.
I'll second it.
Did you get that motion, Lynette?
You're approving this placement pending.
Further
An
investigation.
accreditation checkout, yep,
Yes, and references, yes,
of CHI.
which is Cultural Homestay International.
And I guess further on, if it verifies and checks out, I would say in my motion that give approval to.
Accept the student.
Accept the student.
Yes,
37 years they've been around, so.
right, but I mean, it's new to Prospect Mountain and, you know, just, there's been horror stories in the
Oh,
past of
yeah.
students being abandoned by, you know what I mean, and,
No question. Yep.
you know. So, any further questions?
This looks like it'll be a good fit, though, in reading the list.
Yeah, oh, definitely with the horses.
What's that inside?
Is there any further questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Okay. Okay, we're back here. All right, normally, because we're not meeting again until August, I'm going to make a motion that we give the superintendent hiring authority for any new hires or job openings that come up until our August 3rd meeting.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Okay.
I do want to mention on that as well, we will be bringing the student parent handbook to you at that same August meeting. If there's anything in there that you would like to see modified, changed, or added that's currently not in there, if you could get that to us at some point over the summer, it's one of the
And
projects
if
that we
you
work
could
on.
make sure that maybe in advance we get your recommended changes.
Yeah, you'll get it as
So that we can
normal.
come prepared to vote on it.
Yeah, you'll get it as normal. I can have Sharon send it out to you, but we haven't looked at any modifications. If
Yeah.
we're going to change anything, it's small grammatical
Like,
word
you know,
changes.
spaghetti straps instead of.
Right, yeah, we're going to tackle dress code again.
Rompers are big.
Nailed
Rompers.
Did you get yours yet?
it. Don't answer that.
I just asked that you wear them to a meeting. Okay. For summer hiring authority, since we've got no cock here, all those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous. All right, personnel report.
We have several resignations included in the packet. We have David Bassett, Joseph Lehman, Kimberly Beidelman, I think that's the extent. There were no others.
Set up long.
James Parker, I don't have a letter.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure why. Oh, he just handed it today, but he did resign as of May 31st.
And James Parker.
So, I don't know.
What is that name, James Parker?
James Parker.
Yeah.
So I will need motions.
Separately or all?
I think separately.
Make a motion to accept the resignation of David Bassett.
Second.
Any discussion? He's custodial?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, that's unanimous.
The next page, I make a motion that we accept the resignation of James Parker.
To be hired.
Second.
And what position is he?
Custodian.
Custodian. Oh. Okay, any discussion?
Actually, I now have a question. That's two in the same night. I'm curious, is there a reason? Perhaps none of our business, but
Well, the one
something to be
gives the
concerned about?
reason. The one in the letter gives the reason, and the other one also gave a reason. It was different than this one.
okay.
It was having to do with concern of health.
One is basically financial and the other one is health.
Yes.
Okay. And I think we have one, if you notice in the hiring, that's already replacing one of those positions, so. That we'll be doing after we do this. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. It's unanimous.
Make a motion to accept the resignation of Joseph Lehman.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? And he's a special education case manager.
Correct.
Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. No one's jumping to make these motions. What's going on
Make a
here?
motion to accept the resignation of Kimberly Beetleman.
Second. Yeah, second every one of them, so.
Makes it easy for me.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Okay. So, we have a
We
recommendation
have a
for a full-time.
recommendation for a hire for an evening custodian, full-time, Colleen Bilodeau.
I make a motion that we accept the administration's recommendation for Colleen Bilodeau for nighttime custodian.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Okay, and I think that's the end of that. Okay, so we will open up our second public input. Seeing none, we will close our second public input. Thank you very much. So I will make a motion that we go into non-public. Do I have my cheat sheet?
It would be for,
Okay, under 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, I thought it was E.
no, this was,
We had E and F, I thought.
No, that was the...
we have C and E.
Okay, so we'll go in under C first, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the body or agency itself, unless such person requests an open meeting. Everett? I say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Kathy? Yes. Terry?
Yes.
Jason? Peter?
Yes.
Diane, yes. Eunice?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Okay, so we are now in non-public. Thank you very much.
What is the date of the August meeting?
Lobby Star and Peters with, what's Upton and? Not Upton, is that he just by himself?
It's not even his name.
What's it?
Woodson. So there's a little bit of confusion as far as what the motion was back in March, whether it was to have the firm, of Drummond and Woodson, finish the issue that is before the Superior Court, or to replace Wadley Star and Peters completely. So I would like to amend your motion to say that we would have Matt Upton of Drummond and Woodson finish the issue before the Superior Court. And then to officially retain Wadley Star and Peters with their approval to handle all of Prospect Mountain's legal business, school board's legal business. You can second, and then we can discuss.
I'll second.
Okay, now we discuss, yeah.
And that motion be broken up into two separate parts, for not to vote on as one whole.
Okay, yeah. So I will revoke my motion to make the first one to have Matt Upton of Drummond and Woodson be the counsel for Prospect Mountain for the specific item before the Superior Court.
I second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion on that? All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous.
No.
No, I'm sorry. How many no's?
I'm gonna abstain on this one.
Okay, so 2 abstentions? You have that, Kathy?
I'm gonna abstain.
So 3 abstentions. Okay, so you write that down. Ms. Secretary.
It is to me to write and chart. Gets very difficult.
So then I would like to make another motion, which is to retain Wadley Star and Peters as the legal counsel for Prospect Mountain High School.
I'll second the discussion.
There's a discussion, okay?
Ask for a roll call vote.
Oh, we haven't voted yet.
That's one vote.
So that's Kathy Peel's agent.
That is the Wadley Star and Peters is the firm. So, discussion. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Yes, roll call.
All right. Efren?
I need to abstain from this one.
Kathy?
Abstain.
Karen?
I'm going to vote no.
Okay.
No. No.
Yes?
Abstain.
No.
No.
Okay, so the noes have it. So the Drummond and Woodson will officially remain the attorneys on record for Prospect Mountain High School. Okay, so I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor?